Good evening, Internet. Welcome back to another night of Talks About Stuff for probably far too long. I'm that's Aldous over my shoulder. Tonight I'm going to be talking about the 2018 film Annihilation by Alex Garland. I said in my discussion of the book that I would be doing a discussion of the film as well. So here it is. This is the third time that I've seen it, I think. I rewatched it a couple years ago, but I didn't remember a lot of it. I'm gonna get into spoilers like basically right away. Usually I'll go through the introduction and I'll go through the first act, and then I'll give you guys a jumping off point if you don't want spoilers. This film has been out since 2018. Go watch it. Come back to the video after we've watched it, and we can talk about it then. Before you go, tell me if there is another Alex Garland film that I need to watch, and I will make an effort to see it and talk about it. So yeah, go ahead and get out of here if you want to. All right, if you're still here, I assume that you don't mind spoilers. So there are a lot of like immediate differences between the movie and the book. First off, they have names, which is jarring. When you get used to the designations in the book, when you get used to the biologist and the anthropologist and the surveyor, it's really jarring to like learn about Lena. Um, Before we get into anything else, there's a framing device, and this framing device is Lena being debriefed. And the guy debriefing her is from the Southern Reach. He is in a like full biohazard suit. Funny connection with the backrooms again. He is like interrogating her about how she got back, and she's like, I don't know. And he's like, what do you remember? And she's like, I don't remember much. So then it jumps back in time. Lena was a instructor, a professor at Johns Hopkins, where she was teaching about cells. She was teaching about cell duplication and cancer. Later in the film, she is seen reading a book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. The movie wants us to like be thinking about biology. It wants us to be thinking about cell duplication. It wants us to be thinking about like the biology of Area X and the biology of people. That is introduced like fairly quickly. She is approached by one of her coworkers who is like, you should come to a cookout with me and my wife. We would love to have you. It'll be good for you. And she's like, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna paint my bedroom. I'm gonna go paint our bedroom. And then he's like, your husband, he's been missing for almost a year now. Like, it's not a betrayal to come have a cookout with us. We later learn in the movie that they have had an affair in the past, and the husband, Sergeant Kane, may have known about the affair. So that may be a reason why he was on the expedition. If he was trying to get away from his wife to like put some distance between them, that might be why he had the impulse to go on the expedition into Area X. Speculation, but something to keep in mind. She goes home and she is painting the bedroom. I really like the scene set in the house. It's got this like dreamy lighting quality to it. All of the windows have like sheer curtains on them, so there's light coming in, but the light is dispersed in this like dreamy way. I think it's really cool visually. I appreciate the like cinematic effort put into it. She is in the bedroom listening to music and painting the walls when Sergeant Kane just kind of appears at the bottom of the stairs. He walks up and he finds her, and she immediately like begins questioning him, like, how did you get back? And he's like, I don't know. And she's like, where did you go? And he's like, I don't know. Very similar to her at the beginning of the movie. So, in the book, like he develops cancer over several months after returning from Area X. His doppelganger does, I should say. In the film, he just like takes a drink of water and he puts the water glass down and there's blood in it. He's got like immediate internal hemorrhaging. So she calls an ambulance. They get him on an ambulance. And then before they can make it to the hospital, they're stopped by military people, government, military, some kind of like clandestine unit. They stop the ambulance. They pull him out. They arrest her, and she wakes up at the southern reach. She learns from Vindris, the psychologist, that he was on an expedition into what they call the Shimmer. This is Area X. The Shimmer is what is described as the border in the book. She is like, what is this? And the psychologist is like, we don't know. The psychologist kind of dangles in front of her the idea that if she goes into Area X, she might learn knowledge that she could use to save her husband. So that's another difference from the book. So they've got names. She is going into Area X with like the purpose of gaining information so that she can save her husband. In the book, he's already been dead for some time. And then she is also a veteran in the film. Both Oscar Isaac and her are military or former military. I think that Alex Garland is like more sympathetic to the military than Jeff VanderMeer is. I just started reading Authority again. I made it through the first part, and like everything about the Southern Reach, there's just these like labyrinthine internal politics. There's this inefficiency. There's a lot of like doing things for its sake. And there's a lot of like funding issues. And so everything is just kind of like not really working for the people there, but they still push on anyway because that's what they do. Whereas I think that Alex Garland probably sees the military in a more like favorable light. Maybe that covert operations like Oscar Isaac might go on as part of a unit in the military. Alex Garland might think that those are good things. He made Civil War. He made Warfare after that. I think that he's a little bit more sympathetic towards the military than Jeff VanderMeer is. So 3 immediate differences between the book and the movie. So they make it into Area X, but they kind of like wake up at a base camp inside of Area X. They've gone in and they've set it up and they've been there for a few days. But they wake up one morning and find that they have no memory of the past like 2 or 3 days. They don't remember setting up the camp. They don't remember crossing across the border. I think that this is supposed to be kind of a twist on what happens in the book, where the psychologist hypnotizes them and then gets them across the border and then continues to kind of influence them throughout the expedition. Whereas in the film, it seems more likely that Area X has somehow warped their memories or taken something from them in the journey into it. Very quickly on, they find that Area X is dangerous. They go into a half-sunken house. Lena is looking at the flowers. She's like, it's weird that these flowers are apparently different species based on their phenotype. They look incredibly different. There's so many different variations in them, but they're all growing from the same stem, so they must all be the same species. Meanwhile, Josie Raddick, I think that's right. Josie goes into one of these half-sunken houses, and a alligator jumps out of the water and grabs her bag and pulls her back into the water. The other 3 like rush in, they pull her out of the water, they head back onto land, and the gator like rushes up onto the land and tries to attack them. Not Josie, Lena. Lena gets down into like a firing position, and she just opens fire on it until it's dead. And when they open up its mouth, they see rows of teeth inside of it, like a shark. It is mutating somehow. It is. The psychologist asks if it's a crossbreed, and Lena's like, "You can't crossbreed between an alligator and a shark." So there's some kind of mutation going on. Area X is causing these things to mutate. It's causing these things to change. The psychologist, I think, the psychologist asks if it's a pathology, and Lena says, yeah, I would say that this continuous mutation would be classified as a pathology. Something that else that is different between the book and the movie. I talked about it in my video on the book. At the tower in the book, there is a tunnel that the biologist names the tower. Down inside of this tunnel is the crawler, which is using organisms to like write out Area X, and it continuously writes and continuously drafts Area X. And then when it's finished writing, it like wipes it out and starts again at the top. And it's like a writer, like deleting drafts and starting over and creating new drafts, creating new worlds. And I had said in my book video that that's Jeff VanderMeer. He's the one who is like drafting Area X. He is the god of Area X. He writes it into existence and then he wipes it away. In the movie, instead of writer, instead of the tunnel, instead of the crawler, there's videotapes, and they find a few videotapes within the journey. There's also a big focus on people watching Lena specifically. So in the framing device, when she's in the debriefing room, there's a bunch of scientists like press up against the window watching her. When she first goes to the Southern Reach and she sees the Shimmer, that's tough to say. When she sees the Shimmer, there's a bunch of scientists like watching her see it for the first time. When they watch the tape and she sees her husband on the tape, the psychologist is like staring at her. So instead of the writer, or instead of the crawler, we have these videotapes and we have people looking directly at Lena. So keep that in mind as well. So they watch this video and they see Lena's ex-husband, not her ex-husband, her husband, cutting a man's stomach open. And inside his stomach, there are some kind of like organism, some kind of worm where his intestines should be. This worm is like contracting, expanding, and it's moving under this soldier or this person's belly. And I think it's Anya. Anya says, so they went crazy and they killed each other. There's like, this video proves it, that they just like lost their minds and they killed each other. And they're like, no, there's something inside of his stomach. And Anya's like, I don't believe that. I think that it's just a trick of the light. I've seen a bunch of like things happen as a paramedic. I've seen a bunch of people get hurt on the side of the road. You wouldn't believe what I've seen. It's a trick of the light. There's nothing in there. They have, they find in the pool of this room, they find a person who has like been absorbed into the wall of the pool. It's a very cool shot. It seems like some kind of mold or some kind of membrane has like absorbed this person into the wall. It's very like body horror, very disturbing. They find this and they're like, what is it? What happened here? And one of the things that they talk about is self-destruction being written into the cells of our body. Near the beginning, in a flashback, Lena and Sergeant Kane have a discussion about how cells have they have a gene that causes them to decay over time. If people didn't have that gene, then they wouldn't have to get old. They wouldn't have to die. But because we have that gene, our bodies age, and that causes us to die of old age. Later, when Lena is talking to the psychologist, she says something similar, right? She says that our aging, our death, our self-destruction, it's in our genes. People are drawn towards self-destruction. They're having a discussion about suicide at this point, I think. The psychologist says most people don't want to like stop existing. Most people don't want to die. Most people, they want to pursue something. They have an impulse of pursuing something that is going to harm them. They have an impulse to self-destruct, and those are different impulses. And it's interesting that the psychologist is the one who brings this self-destruction up, because the psychologist has cancer, and cancer is like cells accelerating at a rate that's unsustainable for the body. And these cancer cells like end up killing the organic matter because they're trying to duplicate and keep themselves alive at the cost of the organism that they're attached to. So it's interesting that the psychologist is the one that's having this discussion about self-destruction being written into our genes. Josie gets grabbed by something in the night. They are on guard duty. Something slips through the gate. It like shreds the gate like it was opening a zipper. It goes into the camp. It grabs Josie and it draws her into the woods. Lena goes to follow it. She is looking for Josie. She sees two deer, and these deer are like perfectly in sync with each other. They are mutated. They have like these flowers growing out of their horns. They don't appear to have hair, or if they do, it's like very, very gray, very colorless hair. And they move in perfect. They move. What's it called? Synchronized. They move synchronized. So the one on the left and the one on the right, they're both moving at the same time. So we've had the cells duplicating image. We've had the deer. Keep this doubling in mind, because it's going to get like important towards the end of the film. Cassie was grabbed by the bear. So Cassie gets grabbed by something in the night. She gets taken out into the forest. Lena goes to look for her. She discovers the deer, and then she finds Cassie's body. She goes back to the others. She tells them that she discovered Cassie's body, and they continue into Area X. They come upon these same moss people, the moss statues that were described in the book. And this is where Josie has kind of a epiphany about if you were to like take the cells from these moss statues and look at them, they would have human genes. They would have the blueprint for a human body. And Anya is like, how is that possible? And Josie could just kind of like intuits that this is what Area X is. It's a prism. It takes whatever is inside of it and it refracts it into its disparate parts. So your cells, they get split apart. Your personality, it gets split apart. Your bodies and your mind, they get split into disparate things. And that's why they've been experiencing the things that they have. She says that the Shimmer is a prism that refracts everything. They go to camp for the night. They find this little house. The psychologist says we're still a couple hours from the lighthouse. They go to camp out, but Anya takes the necklace off of Lena, and she sees Sergeant Kane, the same man who was in the video, and she realizes that Lena's been lying to them. Lena had told them that her husband was killed in action. She had told them that she was a widow, that her husband was dead. And Anya freaks the fuck out. She's like, we know that Lena is a liar. We can't trust her about Cassie. We can't trust her about anything. And so she ties Josie Lena and Vendris. She ties the three of them to chairs, and she interrogates them. While she's doing this, the bear that attacked Cassie approaches the house that they're in, and it speaks in Cassie's voice. It says, "Help me, somebody help me." And Anya, she's like, "I thought you said Cassie was dead." She runs out to help Cassie, and she gets attacked by this mutated bear. This is kind of like the big action set piece of the film. The bear comes in, it attacks Anya, it attacks the girls who are tied up, and then it is attacking Lena, and this is kind of like where the danger is. When one of the others takes a rifle, puts it up to the bear's head, and shoots it. And so, very cool scene. A lot of body horror. It's very like harrowing. Short part of the movie, but I think that it works within the context of the movie. I think it's really well done. So we've got Cassie, who is killed by the monster. We've got Anya, who is killed by the monster. And then we've got Josie Raddick. The next morning, she tells Lena that she thinks that she understands Area X, and she thinks that Lena, she wants to go like stop whatever is happening here. She wants to go and like finish whatever is calling to them, whatever is at the lighthouse. The psychologist, she wants to go see it to the end. She wants to go find whatever is in the lighthouse. She wants to find whatever is causing Area X, whatever is causing the shimmer. She wants to like get information. Josie, she wants something else. And she walks away from Lena, and in one shot, we can see her kind of like dissolving into flowers, her shoulders, her upper arms. They're covered with these flowers. And then she walks around a corner, this barrier of like vines, and Lena can't see her. And Lena crosses across the barrier, and it seems as though Josie was absorbed into Area X. She is among the moss statues now. So Cassie is dead. Anya is dead. Josie is absorbed. The psychologist goes to the lighthouse before Lena. She wants to make the trip in the dark in the morning before anybody else does. She wants to see it to the end. She wants to figure out like what is going on here. So Lena follows her to the lighthouse. Outside of the lighthouse, she finds like an arrangement of human bones and skulls. Very cool visual. There are trees around the lighthouse that are like crystalline, and they seem to be like alien. Very cool visuals. Lena makes her way into the lighthouse, and she finds a like tunnel under the lighthouse leading into this chasm. So in the book, we get the tower. This is like an inverse of the lighthouse. Instead of the lighthouse going up, the tower goes down. It's the doppelganger of the lighthouse. In this film, we get this like underground alien chasm. Lena finds a video of Sergeant Kane, two Sergeant Kanes, I should say. She finds a video of Sergeant Kane sitting down in front of a camera, and he says, "I thought that I was a person. I thought I was a man. I had a name. I had friends. People knew me as Sergeant Kane, but I don't feel that way anymore. Something is happening to my mind. I can't feel it." And so he takes a phosphorus grenade. He looks at his clone, who is behind the camera, and he says, if you make it out of here, you find Lena. And the voice behind the camera, which is of course his voice, says, "I will." And he takes a phosphorus grenade, he lights it, and he flash fries himself. Another one of those symptoms of like minds disintegrating through the prism. Lena goes down into this underground chasm, this alien like landscape. She finds the psychologist, and the psychologist kind of monologues for a few minutes. She says, everything that we are, everything that makes up us in Area X, that's going to get broken apart. We're going to disintegrate. Our bodies, our minds, everything is going to be torn apart. Total annihilation. And then that happens to her. She is like torn apart on a cosmic level. She is like, she becomes just a mess of like miasma and different visuals relating to cells and cell growth and cancer, all of it. Very cool visually. Lena stares at her the entire time. She stares at this like miasma. She stares at this cosmic knowledge. She stares at all of it as it's happening. And then at the end of it, this like cosmic force collapses down into the shape of a human, but it's not exactly human. It looks like the Earthbound. It looks like the creatures from Earthbound with the like leathery skin, and it looks very like uncanny. It has the shape of a man, but it doesn't have the features of a man. And so she goes to run out of the lighthouse, and the thing stops her. This is the scene that I remembered most from my previous viewings, is the thing that is in the shape of a human trying to mimic Lena, trying to learn her like mannerisms, trying to become her. So she like tries to run from it and stops her. So she kind of like collapses, and it collapses next to her. And she stands up, and she goes and she gets a phosphorus grenade, and she hands it to her clone, and she pulls the pin out of it. And then she just kind of steps back and lets the mimic of her step back as well. And the grenade goes off, and it flash fries the creature, and it flash fries the mold on the wall. And Lena leaves the lighthouse, and the entire lighthouse goes up in flames. And there's this really cool visual of like the lighthouse burning and the trees burning, and Lena just watching it all happen. And then it flashes back to the framing device of Lena in the debriefing room. And the person debriefing her says, "Oh, it was alien. What happened?" And she's like, I really don't know. And he says, "Well, what did it want?" And she says, "I don't think it wanted anything. Whatever this creature was, this alien being in Area X, it didn't really have a motive. It just is. It's like evolution. There's no end goal of evolution. Things don't get evolved towards a certain point. Things adjust to their environment. And this thing, it seems like, was rewriting the environment in ways that were random and in ways that were harmful to us, but probably like beneficial towards it." So Lena asks about her husband. She asks about Sergeant Kane. Sergeant Kane got better whenever Area X was burned, whenever the Shimmer went away. So he is now healthy. And she asks if she can go see him. And the doctors at Area X let her go see him. There's that looking at Lena theme again, as the scientists are watching her and Sergeant Kane as they like meet at the end. And Sergeant Kane looks at her and he says, "You're not Lena anymore, are you?" She says, "I don't think so." So at the end, their eyes flash. They have this yellow tinge to them, to tell the audience that these are no longer the originals. These are no longer Sergeant Kane. These are no longer Lena. These are something else. They've gone on this journey. They've changed, but they're still kind of the same people. Folding ideas in his video about like interpretation, he gave the kind of brief summary that Annihilation is a film about like, what if you went on the hero's journey and you came back and you were still just you, which I think is accurate, but overly simplified. But Lena, she's like the third version of Lena. She is There's Lena before Area X, there's Lena in Area X, and there's Lena post Area X. And Sergeant Kane, there's pre-Area X Sergeant Kane, and then there's post-Area X Sergeant Kane. And we get glimpses of Area X Sergeant Kane, but he seems like monstrous. He's stabbing people in the stomachs. He's lighting himself on fire with a phosphorus grenade. We get these glimpses, but we don't actually get to see him really. So we don't get to know who he was. We just get these like frightening short glimpses into what he's been through. But they've both gone on like their own hero's journey, and they've come to the end, and they are like, they've been torn apart and then put back together again as something new, but still as themselves. The film is like really obsessed with like cellular biology and like the natural processes by which cells duplicate and change. This is essentially what is happening to Lena. She has gone under cell duplication. Sergeant Kane has gone under cell duplication, but they've returned to becoming like themselves. One of the things that I was thinking about on this watch through that just kind of jumped out to me was the difference in the name, Annihilation. In the novel, it's kind of like, it works on a few different levels, but it is it's the code that the psychologist is given to induce suicidal thoughts in the expeditioners. So if she needs to, she can cause one of the expeditioners to take their own life. Whereas in this one, there's a lot of like sympathy for Vendris as the character, for the psychologist as the leader of the group. I was talking about that earlier with the military like sympathy thing. And she gets to like reframe Annihilation towards the end. At the end of the film, she says that Annihilation is the unmaking of who we are as people, this splitting of our cells, this disintegration of our body and our mind that Area X is like inducing in them. Complete annihilation is when she no longer exists. And then she gets split into this cosmic miasma. So in the book, the title is very much about like, not only what happens to Area X when it gets unmade, but also like the control that the Southern Reach wanted to induce over people, the death that they wanted to like instill within the expedition. And that's not present here. Here, it's much more about Area X as like a natural phenomenon, as this twist on evolution, on this like product of whatever this alien entity is doing to us. And so I just wanted to like put that out there, like the way that the book handles the concept of annihilation and the annihilation of the mind and the unmaking of the biologist's mind when she encounters the crawler, and the way that the crawler like makes her feel like she's drowning in this sea of information, this cosmic like knowledge that she is experiencing and is driving her mad and sapping the strength from her. But then she is able to make her way back up to the surface and follow in her husband's footsteps. Where in this novel, annihilation is like the end. That's the end product of Area X. It's the end of the psychologist. And it is what, if they were to let Area X continue expanding, it's what would become of us. So the reframing of Annihilation between the book and the movie is just something that I wanted to point out as part of my analysis. That's all I've got for you. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you as always for watching. What did you think? What is your interpretation of the film? Was there any scene that you particularly liked? Is there any character that you particularly want to touch on? Anything like that? Yeah. Thank you for joining me for another night of Talks About Stuff for probably far too long. I love you. I'll see you in the next video. Good night.